O tēnā koutou, kia ora hui hui mai nei I tēnei rā. Ngā mihi ki ngā iwi o tēnei whenua, ki Ngāti Toa, me te Atiawa, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou. A growing trend in the GLAM sector is partnerships with community organisations, educational institutions and cultural entities where there is mutual benefit. These partnerships can take many guises. It may be as simple as providing space for a group to provide and or promote a service that adds value to the GLAM institution's role. Or in the case of a library, it could be housing collections owned by others for the benefit of their members and library customers. It might involve staff from the GLAM institution and members of the partner group working together to provide a service or run an event. Or it might involve a group providing targeted funding, whether it be purely philanthropic or for a service that is of particular benefit to the group, but also of value to the GLAM institution and its customers. Governance arrangements for these partnerships also vary widely. Sorry, I'm going to need a drink of water. Some partnerships are very informal and fluid, others rigidly bound by memoranda of understanding and all points between. Dunedin Public Libraries has engaged in a number of partnerships of various types for many years, but perhaps the most ambitious to date has been our partnership with the Dunedin Lebanese community. Lebanese have been a significant feature of the Dunedin community for generations, with the first migrants arriving in the 1880s. The Dunedin Lebanese community is the southernmost Lebanese community in the world. In 1956, the Cedars of Lebanon Club was inaugurated, and by 1958, they had their own club rooms and met regularly to preserve and maintain the traditions of their homeland. In recent years, younger descendants have drifted away, and the club sold their building in 2003 and have since been dispersing the funds via a number of projects, including gathering social histories and the presentation of a cedar grove to the Dunedin Botanic Gardens. In October 2011, the club approached the library with a view to making a donation towards something visible and enduring that would be a legacy to the city of Dunedin, to show the Lebanese people have been an integral part of Dunedin for over 120 years. The library proposed something related to digitisation, that being the top of our agenda at the time, which would be of value both to the community at large and to the heritage collections. After a series of meetings, including a presentation to all the members of the club, it was decided that they would donate a significant sum to fund scanning equipment and a digitisation centre in the City Library, as well as funding the setup and the first 2 years' subscription to a Recollect platform. Recollect would be used to collect the stories of community groups, starting with the Dunedin Lebanese community, and also host digital images of significant items from the heritage collections. We were able to purchase an ST600K kiosk document scanner and a photo scanner for the Digitisation Centre, which you can see in the slide up at the moment, as well as an A-Vision bookage scanner for the heritage collections. The relationship between the library, and that's the other bit of the Digitisation Centre where you see Emma there and myself and our boss, where Emma can work with members of the community uploading material. The relationship between the library and the Lebanese community was formally recorded in a deed of gift, detailing the rights and responsibilities of each party. Emma will tell you shortly about the community engagement side of Scattered Seeds. As far as the heritage collections for which I'm responsible go, we have 2 projects on the go at present. A crowdsourcing project to transcribe handwritten newspaper index cards and uploading World War I troopship publications. Dunedin Public Libraries have for decades been indexing selected articles from local Dunedin and Otago newspapers and other sources. Articles indexed since 1993 have been recorded on the online Southern Regional News Index, as have articles indexed retrospectively from some earlier periods, for example, the 1850s and the 1930s and 40s. This index is available via our online library catalogue. However, the earlier newspaper index, covering publications from 1851 to 1992, is recorded on cards and looks something like what you're looking at on the screen at the moment. And there are 2 banks of 4 index card cabinets. Until recently, these handwritten cards could only be accessed by visiting the Dunedin City Library, but we had long dreamed of making them accessible online. A budget windfall had allowed us to have the cards digitised, but we still had no way of making them available. Enter the Cedars of Lebanon Club, New Zealand Micrographic Services, and Recollect. With the help of Cedars of Lebanon funding and the wonderful people at NZMS, I know there's some of them in the audience, that's why I said that, we have developed a fully web-based crowdsourcing project to have the cards typed up and moderated. Volunteers can register online and complete a web-based transcription training module. Apart from a few who strike problems with the device or browser they're using, volunteers need not even come to the library to sign up and get started. The information from the cards is entered into a template with helpful drop-down menus for the repetitive information such as dates and sources. Each card is typed twice, with the transcription being accepted automatically if the 2 typed versions agree. If not, the 2 versions are referred for review, and trained indexers within the Heritage Collections team check them. Scattered Seeds, He Pura Pura Marara, was officially launched on 27th May 2016, and we started actively seeking volunteers to take part in the crowdsourcing project. To date, we have 87 who have registered and completed online training. Of those, 79 are active users, meaning they've typed at least 1 card, but 58 have done fewer than 50 cards. 13 have completed between 50 and 200, 8 between 200 and 1,000, and 3 have done more than 1,500 cards each. At time of writing, the highest performer had completed a whopping 4,337 of the 8,494 cards accepted to date. The challenge now is to keep the high flyers interested and encourage the not-so-high flyers to contribute more. The original plan for a monthly "Haven't You Done Well" email has fallen by the wayside because we simply don't have the time. We have, however, invited the regular contributors to the annual library volunteer Christmas morning tea. Transcribers can track the overall progress via pie charts, but we made an early decision to hide the full records from all but administrators because of privacy concerns. We may review this in time, as some of our volunteers have asked for access to this information. And it may also be a way of keeping them interested. We've had a few teething problems. The sheer number of images involved has been a great challenge for the NZMS developers to get a workable solution that doesn't take a ridiculous amount of time to load each successive card and save the transcription. They've worked steadfastly on this, trialling a number of solutions until they have finally found one, fingers crossed, which delivers optimal speed without compromising the requirements of our own workflows. This process has led to a few glitches and associated downtime. A staff member working in another part of the site inadvertently impacted on the index cards by selecting the wrong metadata template and trying to put a photo in as an index card. We've fixed this by modifying the default to photograph. But the biggest issue has been the impact on the heritage team's workflows, having to accommodate card review into daily activities. We've also been surprised at how many on-the-hoof decisions we've had to make when reviewing the cards, as we thought we'd covered pretty much everything in the design of the module. You can check it out at this address here. So all this time spent on administration of the crowdsourcing has left little time for uploading collection materials already digitised, let alone developing a plan for future digitisation priorities. To date, the only collection we've worked on is the World War I troopship publications. These were digitised in a joint project with Auckland War Memorial Museum Library back in 2013 and have been languishing on portable hard drives since. To date, 62 of the 128 publications digitised in this project have been uploaded, and metadata is complete for 38 of them. Comprehensive metadata has been surprisingly time-consuming to compile. In many cases, I think I'm supposed to be on the next slide. In many cases, as the existing catalogue records are not always complete, many of the publications don't even appear in Bagnall, and of those that do, some are missing either HMNZT numbers or vessel names, and it can be very challenging trying to find these details. The Scattered Seeds sites allows for page-by-page navigation within each publication. And you can search across the collection for specific titles, ships, or NZEF designations. Clicking on a title takes the viewer to a page with metadata to the right, an enlarged thumbnail of the first page in the centre, and small thumbnails of the other pages along the bottom. Side menu viewing options include full-size thumbnail, fit to screen, fit to width, fit to height, rotation options, or zoom to 100%. 100% zoom allows the viewer to focus on the detail in particular areas of the image using a frame box. And you can see that down on the bottom right-hand side. And by moving with your mouse that little red, hang on, I'll see if I can get this to work. The little red box, you can move that around to the portion of the image that you want to look at. It also responds to the traditional click and drag movement around the image. The side menu also allows download, add to my collection, which is sort of like saving favourites within the site, and contact us about the item and citation information. Other upcoming projects for the Heritage Collections include providing a descriptive page and links to existing Flickr albums of medieval manuscripts. Perhaps one day we'll have the staffing resources to transfer the 232 images to Scattered Seeds, but it's not a high priority as they are already available online. We also have a collection of photographs representing a snapshot in time of Port Chalmers pre-container terminal time, already digitised and awaiting upload, plus a long list of collection items to digitise. I now hand over to Emma to tell you about her role in relation to community content.
So working with the Cedars of Lebanon or the Dunedin Lebanese community, as they provided a large amount of funding to our Scattered Seeds site, and as part of that we started digitising their story into Scattered Seeds. And through this process we setting up Scattered Seeds, we worked with key members of the organisation and in ingesting images and information primarily with two different family representatives to digitise and upload the Scattered Seeds. Most of the scanning and digitisation and uploading I did working directly with the two members, Sarah and Anne, who brought with them not only their own direct family contribution but extending out through related family, which interestingly, most of them, of the founding members of the Dunedin Lebanese community go back to Bashade, I think I've got the pronunciation wrong, in Lebanon. So this is the page, their opening page into the Cedars of Lebanon. and into Bishari. And as we build through, we will bring those links overseas, and people in Bishari are actually looking at this page into their family members over here, which is really neat. There's a family member that one of them went to visit. This interaction has also really given me an appreciation and understanding to the story of this part of our community, which I was really unaware of. And I kind of feel like I've become part of their family. There's stories and the memories that directly relate to the families and individuals and places and how these can link back, and especially through the place nodes as well. Soraya's brother Richard Langston, who's a reporter, you might remember him when a journalist, who has contributed within this poetry that is linked, and a lot about the Caitlin's area, which is really nice linkage to the places. Whoopsie, I've gone too far. So also being able to have external links to websites. So we've got an external link to the Cedars of Lebanon website at the top in prominence, and also on their when you go into their group page as well. Through this project, they've also discovered links between their families, which is really I think it's been quite an emotional journey for them as well. And there have been opportunities for members of the extended community to contribute remotely. I've had one of their members from Perth who's been sending me via email photographs and metadata, which I've been uploading for her. And she checks on me daily, makes sure I've done it. And if I haven't, she lets me know pretty quickly. The family nodes have their complexity and with the linkages between the families and places, but it also gives the ability to link stories and images to different places and people from different organisations. When I start talking about the search and rescue, I use that same way of doing that with the specialist groups. Links to the places within the community gives those different aspects of the community that they can knit together in a story of one place geographically. This is one of the things I really like about the Recollect site, is the geotagging, that you can actually search by place as well, and you can hover around and find the stories in those areas. Then we've also got the story of the recent Syrian refugees that have moved to Dunedin, and we have approached them, but at this point it's a bit too fresh, and so we'll give them a bit of time, and when they're ready to tell their story, we'll upload their story onto Recollect, hopefully, if they want to. So by bringing on groups, because it has been a steep learning curve for us, we've had to make up some policies about what gets loaded onto the site and give guidelines. So we've done that through digital donation forms. So they take responsibility for what is being put up onto the site. So they choose from their organisation what goes up, so we don't take that responsibility as an organisation. We're also making them aware of the copyright options through Creative Commons and guidelines to use in Recollect. Guidelines for metadata, and so what info is required when they need to add items or if they send information through. We've also looked at targeting groups, key cultural groups within Dunedin, the founding groups of Dunedin, Māori, Chinese, the Scottish, and obviously the Lebanese. This has been a reasonably slow process, liaising with different organisations and groups, but now we're looking to push it further into the community, now that we have a good grasp on the process, which has taken a while, and what is required of groups and how it will work. So because I took on this project as part of my job, I thought I should become a digital volunteer myself so I could learn the process as a volunteer. So I am involved in search and rescue and an operational dog handler. So I decided to work with the local police and LIANZA group and capture their history. After hearing some other organisations around that have used Recollect, like the fielding with the fire department, I could see the opportunity within the SAR sector of a lot of stories that were being lost as people get older and aren't around anymore to tell those stories. And I was wondering where some of these stories would end up and how they'd be accessed or survive in a digital format, especially if they're put on websites. So I'd just like to add at this point, Reid Perkins and people like him have been really helpful in helping us to build this site, and without the help of other people and your colleagues, you'd be pretty lost, so it's really important. In attending the NZ SAR Awards with my dog in Wellington here earlier in the year, I was surrounded by lead agencies in SAR, and one of the comments that came out by a key speaker there was that there was ordinary people doing extraordinary things in the community. So I think with search and rescue, one of the things is it's such a task base. It's all about operating and finding people and saving people's lives. They don't have time to spend that on their history. So I think it's quite a key area of some of those organisations that we do try and encourage them to save their history. So working with these groups, there's one man here in Wellington, Dr. Tom Clarkson, who's written a lot about the history of search and rescue in New Zealand. He was an advisor for Erebus, so some key operations that have happened around the country. And I was at a LIANZA conference in New Plymouth, and we were sitting around having dinner, and he sat down and just started telling the story of when they were stuck in a snow cave for 7 days with their lunch and a packet of Smarties. I quickly whipped out my phone and recorded his story. It's not very good quality, but it's stuff like that that's just really key to capture. And he said that one of them had his birthday. They were allowed 1 Smartie a day each, and the guy that had the birthday got 2 on that day. So it was a pretty cool story. Some of the material working with search and rescue is quite sensitive because you are talking about families that may have deceased members, so making those decisions as to what goes up on the site. So as a volunteer, I took signing rights with our local SAR sergeant. I've spent quite a bit of time down at the DCC, which is the District Comm Centre, not the Dunedin City Council. While he's been monitoring all around the South Island, the lower South Island, we've been working on their history, and he's been looking at pictures and memorising what's happened with their organisation. So this is the Dunedin SAR squad, so we're working with them, and he wrote the history of SAR for our group and some of the images that have come through. It's been quite a really interesting process looking at what they've been giving through. That's a bit of fun that they do as well. So Brian Ben, who's our SAR sergeant, had in our SAR store this collection of all the newspaper cuttings and any interesting ephemera from searches for 20 years, which has been hand annotated. And as they moved rooms, it was all carefully taken down, and we digitised and scanned the whole lot. It's just a really nice collection that we can preserve and put on the site. I've also received through this organisation Roger Barraclough, who is a key person in a lot of our organisations, the Federated Mountain Clubs and other Otago Mountaineering Clubs, and also through SAR nationally, received all their information on search and rescue, and we're digitising that as well. Moving forward, we also have had a intern, which we took through the HUMS, the Humanities Department at the university, and worked with Ulverston, and we have digitised a lot of their collection as well. And by having that intern, it's actually made quite a big difference to being able to get a lot more up on the site really quickly. And we are currently looking at getting a paid position as a digital archive assistant. And moving forward, we've also got, I'll quickly go through some slides, Ulverston, which is a lot of the theme and history, which is quite a big history of the Jewish community. So there's some really nice images that are coming through that we haven't seen before, and ephemera from Ulverston. This is one image that has come from Australia that got sent randomly through the mail on Dunedin, so uploading some of these images, as well as now working with the Peninsula Museum. They're an interesting museum which has got nothing digitised, and the reason it was highlighted is that a few of the items have been stolen off the walls, so we made a priority to start digitising that. I've been doing it in the last 3 weeks, and hopefully we'll be able to start uploading some of these images onto the site. It's about time, so I better stop. Not at this point in time, but we're looking to get some, and that's one of the key things we're looking at next, is trying to capture the oral history. At this point, we haven't started using the audio or the visual part of Recollect. We were hoping to collect enough to pay the subscription every year. We wanted to have a body of work that was going to make it worthwhile to pay for that each year, so we need a bit more to put there before we start paying for it. So hopefully if we get that, we can start capturing some oral history.